every day as we are moving ahead. So let's start with the actual classes. First of all, let's understand from the Docker images. Okay, understanding from the Docker images make us more clear in terms of doing practicals also, because the base of the Docker is from the image itself only. Okay, then we go for the container, and then we go for the orchestration, and then we go for the utilizing the resources and add-ons. So first, Docker image. Yes, I know this image is nothing but the collection of some of the bins and libs, binaries and libraries. But when you create the container is completely an isolated container. Yes, you are saying a container and isolated completely. So this isolated container will not going to communicate with the other container until and unless if they are not in the if they are in the same network. If they are in the different network, yes, won't. So where does it get some configuration files, and then we are providing some environments like environment variables and other things, and then it is creating. For example, you can take Nginx or MySQL or PostgreSQL as a image source. Okay. So this is going to be have some database binaries. Let's say Postgres. Postgres image is an example. So it is having database binaries, and it is having config files and other dependencies. Okay. And even if you go for a front end, this is DB, and when you go for a front end like a Python, I'm just front end in the means I'm talking about the application, a front side. Let's say again in the code front end and back ends are different. So Python, let's say Python. So here in the Python we have to include some of Python runtime, and which is nothing but including our code itself, app code, and with along with some dependencies. Okay, so then I can make use of this my application image, application image, app image, and db image. So both are db container and app container. This both going to be communicate and give me my application result. First thing, the most important things when we are talking about the images. Okay, so these images are first immutable. These images are first immutable. Immutable means once an image created, it can't be modified. You can make a new image by adding some changes on top of it. Okay, and you can create a one more image. But once you created an image, it is immutable. You can't do edits on it or modifications on it. So that is the first important thing. And coming to the containers, so containers, whichever the container you're creating from an image, the container which you are creating from an image is composed by or composed of layers. Okay, layers. What are the layers? Okay, So each layer, we have multiple layers we can add. Each layer is represents a set of system changes. Okay, let's say like this, system changes. So what system changes it do? Like it adds some changes, add, remove, or modify what files. Okay, your layers are represent these actions, add, remove, or modify a file when you are going with the container from an image. Okay, so this is a main thing about the images, and as well as about the container. So let me open my Docker desktop. Yeah, I have opened. Any images, any containers? No. Fine. Even we can try with the play with Docker. So play with Docker, it will give us a lab. Like you can create the servers here, and you should log in with your GitHub or Docker Hub registry. Start. And let's add an instance. It's not creating an instance for us. If not, I can do something. It's taking snap itself here. Okay, now let's understand some of the commands. So now I would like to pull an image, like the image from the registry. Docker Hub registry already there, so I can go with Docker pull, which is going to pull my image from hub to the local. When I give the sample command docker pull nginx, what it is doing, it is just using a default tag called the latest. Okay, so in the Docker Hub, whatever this image is with the latest of Docker official image, not other third-party images. Docker official image with the latest tag, it is trying to pull library of the nginx. Okay, when it is pulling, and these are all the digest ID and the commits ID, which is going to give you as a part of your download process, like your pulling process in your local system. Okay, in your local system. And if you see this one, this is the SHA ID where it represents the image commit. And if you check docker.io library nginx latest, docker.io is the registry where we are referring to. And even I can install same apt install docker.io. docker.io not take, let's say apt-get install dot. Some command it represents us. Okay, fine. So when I say I already pulled an image, docker images, when you give docker images, it will list the list of images, and if you can find a repository, tag, image id, created, and the size. Okay, so repository means it's coming through the library from your hub nginx path, and the tag is latest. This is the image id. Every id will follows a unique id and identifier. Okay, and you can see created 2 weeks ago. If I log into my Docker Hub, and let's go to explore and just type nginx. See, it pulled this one. We do have other also, but it's not going for other until and unless if you not specify. Okay, it will be directly going to pull your official image one and the nginx docker container maintainers. Okay, so maintainers are nothing but who are going to contributing here and who are doing the things here. And this is the docker nginx, the official repository. from the GitHub. And there are 5 branches and 114 tags. That means 114 releases has happened. Okay, release section is not here. Plus 27 plus contributors are here, and the last commit was done 3 weeks ago. Okay, it done 3 weeks ago, regenerated after last commits. So what was the last commit? What they have added in it? They are just changed the 27 25 to 27. Okay, curl nginx package oss. Okay, so this is completely a developer stuff where he is changing the docker file. So yeah, if you observe, many times the changes happening at the docker file itself only. If you could say 1.2525 and there are 1.270 and 2, and all the IDs are getting changed here. So that's how we are getting the latest image to do our things. Okay, and here you can see the supported tags in respect to docker file links. 1.270 is the latest one, and mainline 1.27 latest. All these are the tags. How many commits has been done? So this many tags are here. And if you come down here, the quick reference way to file an issue. Something we found something nginx having some bugs. I just will create here and come and raise new issue. Let's say the existing issues who are raised, update this repository tags to match the container image, and it was opened. Someone has raised this one, but no one had not resolved this. Okay, he's just complaining something. Currently a latest container image is 1.27.0, which seems to be correspond to GitHub Nginx Docker something, but this repository does not have the tag. Now is that latest tag in the repository 1.25.4 and 1.27.0. Fine. Okay, so if you come down, so these are all the commands and the extended things how we can use this image. So first of all, if you come here, docker run hyphen name, so you can give any name here and just it is going to mounting the value. But right now I don't want a mounting the value, and here also some uh, docker file instructions there, and here also it is telling that how to create an image from the docker file, and then you can run again, and then you can map to the port mapping, and then all this information in every image you can find. So let's do our things first. Yes, now I have pulled the image, and I would like to call it as a one more image, and I would like to take it as a backup. I just want to take it as a backup. So how can I? Already you have a latest tag here, and I log into my Docker Hub. So I'll go to my repositories. I have one repository here. I'll create one more repository. I'll say the Docker lab, Docker Labs is my one other repository. So I'm making it as a public, not private. And if you can see right side the commands, docker tag local image and the local image tag name and new repo and new tag name. Okay, so I'll go and create this one, and here I'm not having any of the image, you can see. So what I'll do, so I'm already having this nginx image. I'll go into docker tag, so this is my local image colon, what is the tag, latest tag in the local, and what is my repository, my repository is this one. Copy this and colon, you have to give a new tag name. Okay, so I'll say a new image like this, and it was tagged. If you see docker images, it's create a new image for you, it's create a new image for you. So this image you can take it as a backup, you can take it as a backup. And why you're tagging it, first thing is to identify, okay, to identify my different versions and my different variants of the code up changes. And when I'm going for a containerizing, in between the docker image plays a key role, right? So I need to maintain for each change or for each commit, so I need to maintain a separate tag image. Okay, so let's say something like for just an image, I'm just taking one example. This is nginx already there, right? Docker rmi, I'm just removing this image. So there is no image. I'll just go with docker file, and I'm just taking this two instruction, just don't worry about the instructions. So I'll just do one thing, I'll create one directory called docker, and I'll move this docker file to, let's say, 1 2. docker file. Okay, now I just have this docker file. Okay, and there is no nginx image. When nginx image is not there in your machine, it is trying to pull from the hub even though you're not logged in. As a docker hub, even though you're not logged in, it is going to pull from the hub. And docker build, so when you're giving docker build, so this command is executing from your client, from our client. So -t, which is nothing but going to be tag a name to your image. So I'll say my site, and dot means the current location where your docker file is there. Now it's building, it's loading, building and transferring the files which docker ignore. Okay, this is main thing. It is going to set up your docker things, and it is automatically downloading your metadata and adding the things and just exporting the layers. So exporting the layers where it's come into the picture of container. Image is immutable, but at the layer thing it's come into the container. And if I see docker images, I have my site image. So what I'll do, I just don't want this this image. I'm going to remove this docker rmi, and this is my tag image. I'm removing it. RMI, and then I'll just take the ID. Yeah. Now docker images. I have only one image right now. Fine. So I would like to first tag it. Why I need to tag means I need to identify my image with the current running image. I want to maintain identify in the backup with my current image. So what I'll say, docker tag your image colon the latest, then your repository colon new tag. The tag would be like this: v1.1.0, v1.1.0. I'm tagging my image. First thing, I'm tagging my image, and then I would like to push the image. Before pushing the image, I just want to see does it running perfectly or not. So I need to create a container. Let's go for the container. Docker run -d -p. So I'll say 2024 colon 80, and my site is my image. Okay, I'm just saying like this, and it's created one digest. This is the digest ID, and I would like to take the IP address and let's say is it working or not. Welcome to Docker class, it came. Yes, that means it is working for me. Okay. Yes, my content is working successfully, and I have tagged my image. If you see Docker images, we have two images. One is your changes images with the tag, and another one is the local image. So you want to keep a backup to the Docker hub. Docker push your repository name colon and your tag. That's it. When you give this command, it is trying to push your prepared images or image things to your Docker hub, but it's permission denied. Downloading or pulling, it doesn't need a permission, but while you're pushing, it need a permission. We have a public and private, right? In private also we have to specify the login. Okay. Docker login we need to do. So here I need to give the username and the password. Now it's successful. If you try pushing now, it go and pushed into my repository. Now it is pushed. If you come here and check and refresh, I got my image here in the few seconds ago, v1.1.0. Okay, so this is my image right now, and you have your things, the extra information. Okay, the extra information you have already, and all this information and a few seconds moved by my name. If you want to delete this, delete this. One more thing, right now I just created this image and I moved into my repository. Fine, it is safe. All of sudden, my image got deleted. Okay, my image got deleted. For example, this image is deleted. Oh, now if you see, when the running container there, I'll go to the containers as well. We just at the images. When I'm running the container, whenever your container runs through a source image, even we force, but the daemon is conflicting us because the image being used by the running container. You can stop the container and then you can delete it. Docker ps. When you give Docker ps, it will give you the list of containers which are running inside the servers. First thing. Okay. Okay, before going to delete the image, let's try some commands on the image thing. Okay, I would like to inspect the image. docker inspect my image. Which image? My site is the image. Okay, so when I given this, I just got some output: id, repo tags, repo digest, and the parent, and the comment build kit docker file, and was created this time. And these are the things: the container configs, docker version, and coming to environment has been all these things we know already. NJS release, this is the information you'll get here. This information, image and layers. Okay. And if you can see vulnerabilities, if you go and upgrade the things, you can do a scanning itself in the Docker Hub. The same option available at your ECS, GCS, sorry, ECR, GCR, and ACR. So this is the information. If an image is having something, then you can inspect the image and you can get the things, or you can get the history also. History. So in this history, see what happened. So image, this is the image, and 9 minutes ago copy index.html to this with 26 bytes. Okay, and my build kit of the docker file is commented this one. Okay, and the second things are all are showing you miss because we are not utilized them to add the things. Okay, you can see. Okay, Arif is sending a message. Fine. Yeah, so if you observe here, you have a build kit specifically. So what is this build kit in our docker file, and what is the use of this? So basically it going to enable the hypervisor things. Okay, it's going to enable the hypervisor things. So whatever the container versions you are doing, it is going to be a run like a daemon. Build kit is running like a daemon only. Okay, start the daemons and trying to create an image on your operating system. It's work for your hypervising things or virtualizing things. Okay, so that's why the build kit will be there in every docker file. Whatever the image you create from the docker file, it will be going to be from the build kit itself. Okay, so this is the only one action we have did. If you see the history, and these are all the layers when this image is having, then we just utilized one thing. Okay. If you come here, you can also see it here. So this is my tagging, and I pushed docker images. Okay, I would like to stop my container. PS docker stop, and my container, my site. Keyboard is too long here. Docker stop my site. No such containers. Okay, that's this is the container ID. I'm just giving the name. Now docker ps no container. If you go with the docker ps -a, so there's one thing which is it's now going off. Okay, that means it is removing. It's telling exited. Then I can also, okay, I just stopped, right? Fine. Docker images and docker rmi and my image id. Still is referring to the multiple repositories unable to delete must be forced. Okay, forced untagged docker images. There is no images and there is no container even. Okay, and even I don't want to be keep the container also. Docker ps, I'll remove the container. So -a will be going to show your hidden containers also. Docker rm and the container id. So now if you give docker ps -a, it won't show you any of the container. So right now my container is not there, and I took this as a backup, right? Copy this image and come here, docker pull, okay. Now it is downloaded. Docker images, you have your tagged image, so what is the scenario means, I have my image and container, and all of a sudden image and container not available from a mission. So how can I recreate the same application? I did already a tagging and backup, right? And I moved to the docker hub, and I can pull the same and I can run the container. Docker run -d and -p 2024 again. Now this time I'll give 2025 80. This port mapping. Okay, and I'll provide my docker image id. So here docker run means it is going to it's going to start. First thing, it's going to start your image to execute as a container. We have two things, docker create and docker start. Okay, so I can create it. Let's take, I think port mapping is doesn't going to help over there. So docker create, what it do, it is going to just create your container, but it's not start your container. Docker ps no containers not yet started, you have to start manually again. Docker start nginx, fail it to start the container. Docker ps -a, sorry, not this is the id, this is the id, this is the id. Now it is started. Now without -a you have to see the container. When you create with that, you have to see in -a, and after that you have to see in the without -a. Okay, now my container is running, this one. Okay, let's come to our container, docker ps and docker images. I have my image right here, so I pulled here and I would like to tag one more time. Okay, so what I have, I would like to do one more change. Before that change, I would like to keep the same container again, ran docker ps docker run -d -p, doing a port mapping from your actual port 2025 colon 80 and my image id. Okay, it's going to run my container docker ps. I have my container. If you come here and if you do 5, yes, it's running right now. And all of a sudden my developer did one more change, and uh, what change he has done? He has done something like this: do changes in code base, like this. Now sudo docker build -t my site. So always this name has to be changed. Okay, so already your local image will be there at your build machine, so you have to keep changing on it. So we'll say 1 2 3 4 5, whatever the build number. If the build number is 2 122, keep the 122. Or the build number is something like uh, 2000 230, like this. You can keep the build number 230. Keep the build number itself or one specific unique tag to it, and then provide the path. Now it's got builded docker images. Now I will tag my new image as v1.1.1 and I'll move it to the Docker Hub. Okay, let's say Docker tag my image latest now I'll say v1.1.1 and I'll say docker push okay, docker ps. So this was okay. So docker images. I have my one more image with the new changes. Okay, with the new changes. So this new changes one, I would like to run it as the container. So sudo, where is the command? This one, I'll say it as 26 and I'll going to run it as my image of v1.1.1. You can give this one also. It's the tagging, right? It's not finding the correct one. Tag one. We should give this one. Now if you come 2026 and give 2026 here, do changes in code base. I'm just doing a port mapping to 2026 or 2024 2025 from the exposed docker image. My nginx can work on 80 port number. It can be exposed on the 80 port number. If I exposed on the 80 directly my nginx, I cannot run other things. Like you should do expose, mapping other containers also, right? So when you're directly doing only at the single IP address, the single IP address is opt for the 80 port number. So that is going to give you a impact or some conflicts at the port mapping. So each individual container, I want a separate way to access, isolated way, and also I want to be access them separately on the same mission. You can do port mapping. So doing a port mapping, what happens? So my image is exposed on 80 and my container can be also exposed on 80, and then I am giving 2026. So when I'm searching something along with the IP address, the request is coming to first 2026 and then it go and communicate with the 80, and then my container can be opened, okay, with the get or post things with the Docker API. Okay, you can see the arrow. It's come through the internet. 0.0.0 means from anywhere in the internet, and it come to your first your port, and then it go to the 80 where it works on the TCP. Okay, and if you could see here, I will be having two images. So that's it, guys. So we'll more deep dive into the classes. So the classes are going to start. The demos are almost going to end. There's nothing to cover in the demos also. We have to start the things with the Docker. So if you are enrolled, then we could jump into the deep diving labs, doing a lot of things at the images, doing scannings, findings, and then doing the container and executing with the microservices, connecting them, reading the data, keeping the data, maintaining backup. Very good things are there in coming classes. 2026 port number is not container, it is the host mission. Host mission to the container port 80 you are forwarding. So Pankaj, even you don't know about the AWS and you know about the Azure, but Docker Kubernetes everywhere. It's not specific to or bound to one cloud. Okay, we're just discussing complete Docker tool, Kubernetes tool, and uh, Terraform. And at the Kubernetes, I will be giving you the AKS. That time you can understand very easy. At AWS EKS and at GCP GKE. Three managed clusters I will be covering. In security group, you have to open 2026 port number with it, because you are requesting to the host, not directly to container. Our security group can only understand the deny and allow actions at the host only. Okay. If you see here, this is my container, and this is my host. And you have a security group, for example. The request comes through the internet to a server, So you are accessing the IP address. That means that should be a host port number. What? 2026. This 2026, and your container is running on which port number? 80 port number. So itself in the mission it's exposing on 80 port number. Now the request comes like this. Okay, this is what I'm doing, the port mapping. So I can run the 80 containers 10 12 also, but I can map with the different port numbers, so my container won't be conflicted. So if you are not doing the port mapping and you are running 2 3 containers with the same port number, it will be conflicted, only single port. The server can't support it. Open or create specific port for container created by us. Praful, we are going to decide the port number one thing. Okay, so here we just giving the mission port number, but at the organization we will be doing through the load balancer or cluster IP expose node port at limited cases, like, and some rare cases where you really need, we will go with the port numbers. But most of the times we do expose with the load balancer service and with the cluster IP service. So here at the Docker, to do an individual thing, to do a containerizing and testing and checking them along with something, to access the main container port, you do a port mapping. So providing 0.0 is directly comes through your internet. Load balancer, full load balancer, we are going to create, not even cloud engineer. Cloud engineer also will going to create, and we also going to create. Okay, so when we have a Kubernetes cluster, and if you're exposing, automatically it will create a load balancer for you. You don't need to do manual things. At EKS, if you exposing a workload with a load balancer, it's create a load balancer for you automatically. Are you assigning 2026 in SG of AWS? Yes, I have allowed here all TCP IP ports 02653536. So 2026 comes under this. Can we create another port while container is running? Yes, you can create it with the same image. Now it is running on 2026, right? It's created. Docker PS 2027. If you go here, 2027. Okay. You can install software on container also, Shivani. You can log into the container, exec-id, and your container, which is, this is my container for example, and slash bin slash bash, log into it. Now you are into the this one. You can do apt update, and if you want to install apt install something, let's say git. Okay, it's installing the software inside the container. Yes, you can do modifications in the file. So for example, this is my Nginx site. In Nginx, where here I have a file. Okay, so let me go to the file here. Cd, I'm here. I have my index.html. vi index.html. Vi you have to install nano index.html, apt install vi nano, and then do nano index.html and do the edits here. Like I'll say, as per Srivani, sorry for the spelling, Srivani request. Okay, I'll just close this. Came right, as per Srivani request. This is how you can do modifications. Okay, will this available after container restart? Okay, it will be preserved over there. Yes, it will be there. You have to do a manual restart or automatic restart, it will be there. So in some cases, you are doing inside that, but if you want to read some data, you have to maintain the volumes. It's just a configurational file changes, it will be there. For example, we can also see, to avoid the confusion, I'll just give one last try. So I'm exiting from the container and docker ps docker restart. This is my container. It is going to preserve the data, but if not preserved as a persistence, okay, you have to make it a volume and from there you can read it. Now it's restarted. Docker ps, it's running right now, and I'll going to refresh this. You can see I'm refreshing, it's there. Guys, head to one more class. If you have more questions, just please. Hi sir, can we expect the hands-on production? Yes. We are doing right the same kind of things we do. Oh, history. So this is a history. So I'm giving you in the chat to everyone. I don't know, it's not pasting in chat. This is a history, just take it. For your databases, Stephen, we have to maintain the volumes. It's not, doesn't works with the local configs. Fine. Guys, let's meet tomorrow at the same time. Docker was installed with the snap. Thank you all. Thank you very much.